For years, the elite world of high-stakes tournament poker was dominated by a predictable cast: sharp-jawed American pros, European wunderkinds raised on online grinding, and a few fearless businessmen with deep pockets. Then, in 2017, a virtually unknown Argentinian player named Maria Lampropulos walked into one of poker's most prestigious arenas and rewrote the script. Lampropulos wasn't a household name. In fact, outside of South American circuits, she was almost invisible to the global poker community. But by the time the cards were shuffled at the Partypoker Millions live main event in Nottingham, England, she was poised to change that. She didn't just win a massive tournament, she became the first woman ever to capture a seven-figure payday in a truly open-field event outside the tiny, super-high roller scene. Her run wasn't a lucky heater. It was a masterclass of reading opponents, balancing ranges, and trusting her instincts under pressure. Over a brutal multi-day battle, Lampropulos dismantled a field of more than 1,200 entrants, among them world-class professionals with millions in career earnings, and walked away with £1 million, about $1.25 million. Along the way, she made a series of decisions so precise and fearless that commentators, opponents, and viewers alike were left speechless. This is the story of how a soft-spoken underdog outplayed poker's toughest minds and etched her name into the game's history books. The final table, 8 players, millions on the line. By the time play reached the televised final table, only 8 players remained. Each elimination represented life-changing money. Every misstep could mean the difference between a 6-figure payday and the £1 million crown. Lampropulos was not the chip leader when the cameras began rolling. Yet from the first hand, she projected an unmistakable presence, calm, deliberate, and quietly dangerous. The tension was electric. Each player brought their own pedigree and style: online crushers, live circuit veterans, and fearless amateurs willing to gamble. Lampropulos sat somewhere in between, armed with a rock-solid understanding of modern tournament strategy, but willing to follow her gut in high-pressure spots. Right out of the gate, she sent a chilling message. In a hand against Neil Murphy, she flat called a raise, rather than re-raising. An old-school trapping line that baited her aggressive opponent into overplaying his hand. The commentators marveled at her composure. She's just setting a trap. She's prepared to take the chance. It's a very old-school way to play against aggressive players, and it's worked to perfection. When the chips finally went in, Murphy never saw it coming. His entire stack slid across the felt, and Lampropulos quietly stacked her new chips, her face unreadable. It was an early signal. She belonged here, and she wasn't afraid to stand toe-to-toe with anyone. Playing the player, not the cards. Lampropulos' run wasn't built on big pairs or miracle flops. It was built on positional awareness and fearless exploitation. Soon after her first scalp, she opened with 10-9 offsuit, a light raise meant to steal blinds. Mattis Ripdahl, a Norwegian pro known for fearless defense, called with 5-4 suited. The flop and turn ran out awkwardly for both, but Lampropulos refused to back down. By mixing well-timed checks with thin value bets and well-sized bluffs, she slowly wore down opponents, trying to punish her open ranges. Over and over, she demonstrated an advanced polar 3-betting strategy, attacking wide button opens with junky hands like 9-2 offsuit, while preserving strong hands for traps. The casual viewer might have dismissed these moves as wild, but to seasoned players, it was textbook late position warfare. As one commentator noted, she's not playing the cards, she's playing the player. The hero calls. That changed everything. Every great poker victory has its defining moments. The spots where a player must stare down a massive bet, weigh incomplete information, and risk it all. Lampropulos faced several such moments and consistently found the courage to call. Calling down second pair. In one pivotal hand, Ripdoll fired multiple barrels on a dry board after Lampropulos checked back second pair, a line she had used before to induce bluffs. By the river, the pot was swollen, and his final bet was enough to cripple her stack if wrong. Many players would fold and preserve chips. Lampropulos didn't blink. After a long tank, she tossed in the call and was right, sending the commentary booth into a frenzy. It was the kind of thin, range-based decision that separates elite players from merely good ones. Reading the room, not just the board. Her reads weren't limited to math. Time and again, she seemed to feel the emotional pulse of the table, noticing when fatigue set in, when an opponent was steaming, or when a big bluff was coming. Analysts speculated that one opponent, exhausted after a sleepless night, came to the table, a little cracked up. Lampropulos exploited that mental edge without mercy, turning defense into offense. Another hallmark of her run was patience, followed by sudden aggression. She wasn't afraid to flat call pre-flop with hands like ace-5 instead of forcing action. Then, post-flop, she'd let aggressive opponents hang themselves, calling down with top pair, springing a trap when draws missed, or suddenly check-raising when scare cards hit. The effect was cumulative. Opponents began second-guessing their bluffs, slowing down on turns and rivers where they once would have fired. Each pot she dragged made the next one easier. The crucial turning point, facing the all-in shove. The tournament's emotional crescendo came deep in play when Matus Ripdoll, clearly frustrated, shoved all in for over 100 million chips into Lampropulos. She held a strong but non-nut hand, good but not invincible. Folding would leave her short. Calling and losing could end her dream run. The table fell silent. Commentators debated aloud. She's well capable of folding this, but maybe she knows he picked the wrong time to make a move. After an agonizing tank, Lampropulos slid forward a single chip call. Ripdoll was crushed. His bluff snapped off. The pot vaulted her near the top of the leaderboard and changed the tournament's momentum forever. Heads up, underdog versus favorite. After a marathon of eliminations, only Maria Lampropulos and Jacob Mulhern remained. Mulhern entered heads up with nearly double her chips and plenty of swagger. He reportedly refused a deal to split the top prize, confident he could outplay the unknown. It was a decision he would regret. Mulhern came out aggressive, firing frequent continuation bets and trying to bully the shorter stack. But Lampropulos stayed composed, defending her big blind with a wide range and picking her spots to counterpunch. The legendary ace-jack call. The hand that defined the heads-up duel began innocuously. Lampropulos defended ace-jack offsuit against a raise. The flop missed both players. Mulhern fired a continuation bet. She called. The turn and river brought more blanks, but Mulhern tripled down, barreling huge on the river in an attempt to blow her off ace-high. Most players fold here. It's terrifying to risk the tournament on a single read with just ace-high. Lampropulos trusted her instincts. After a long, calm deliberation, she slid in the chips. Call. The table erupted. The commentators were stunned. One of the sickest hero calls you'll ever see in a high-stakes final. Absolutely brilliant. The call flipped the chip counts and the match's psychological script. Suddenly, the favorite was reeling, shifting gears. With the lead, Lampropulos shifted into a more aggressive gear. She check-raised flops, floated turns to bluff later streets, and used her newly won stack to pressure Mulhern. Meanwhile, he seemed rattled. His bluffs met with cool calls, his value bets facing resistance. The final clash, kings versus ace-queen. Fittingly, the end came with fireworks. Lampropulos picked up pocket kings, a monster in heads-up play. Mulhern found ace-queen, a hand too strong to fold. The chips flew in pre-flop. The tournament's destiny rode on a 5-card runout. No ace arrived. When the dealer laid the final card, Lampropulos covered her face, then smiled as the reality set in. She had just captured £1 million and made history. Commentators summed it up best. A great tournament has had a very, very worthy winner and a very worthy runner-up. But Maria played extraordinarily well. Why her win mattered. Poker has seen plenty of underdog victories, but Lampropulos' run resonated for deeper reasons. A breakthrough for women in poker. While female players have long competed at a high level, few have taken down massive open-field events with million-dollar top prizes. Lampropulos' win proved it could be done and inspired countless women to pursue the game seriously. A masterclass in modern tournament play. Her mix of game theory fundamentals, balanced ranges, polar 3-betting, with old-school intuition, live reads, fatigue exploitation, was a template for success in today's diverse fields. The power of composure. Throughout swings, huge pay jumps, and relentless aggression, she never tilted or rushed. Her methodical pace, sometimes criticized by opponents, kept her balanced and unreadable. Lessons from Maria's million-pound run. For players hoping to emulate her success, Lampropulos' performance offers key takeaways. Patience wins tournaments. She didn't force action early or chase marginal spots. Instead, she conserved chips, picked off bluffs, and struck when the math and psychology aligned. Balance your ranges. By mixing strong hands with occasional junk 3 bets, she made it impossible for opponents to know where they stood. Exploit human factors. Fatigue, frustration, and overconfidence took down several pros. Lampropulos noticed and adapted. Trust your instincts, but with a plan. Her hero calls weren't random. They came after carefully considering ranges, bet sizing, and table dynamics. Epilogue: from unknown to icon. Maria Lampropulos arrived in Nottingham as an under-the-radar competitor and left as a trailblazing champion. Her £1 million score didn't just change her life financially, it cemented her as a symbol of strategic brilliance and quiet resilience in a game often dominated by loud personalities. Since that landmark win, she's continued to compete at a high level, respected by peers and feared by anyone who tries to bluff her. But it's that 2017 victory, the one where she coolly stared down elite players, called massive bluffs with ace-high, and toppled a giant, that remains her signature achievement. Poker thrives on stories of unexpected triumph, but few are as elegant and instructive as Lampropulos'. She didn't just win money, she showed the world how a patient, fearless mind can conquer the biggest stage. If you loved watching how she dismantled the pros and want more epic poker breakdowns, hit that like button to show your support. Don't miss our next deep dive into legendary hands and career-defining runs. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you're first to know when new episodes drop. Your next favorite poker story is just one click away.